Do you want to save hours performing repeat tasks here in Affinity Photo? If so, then this is the video for you. Hi, I'm George, and I'll be showing you how to do batch processing here inside of Affinity Photo, including how to add in your own steps into batch processing. Now, before we start, don't forget that I have a complete training course for Affinity Photo, and I'll put a link for that at the top of the description. Okay, you can find the batch processing up here under the File menu, and right down here, New Batch Job. Let's bring that up. And here we go. Here's the batch processing window right here. Now, unfortunately, there isn't an option to bring in open files. It'd be nice if there was, but there isn't. So we have to add in the files right down here. Just click the Add button and then choose your files. I'll just grab a selection of these images right in here. Just like that. I'll grab some that are all the same basic dimensions in here. Okay, there's several added in. Notice that we have the name of the file up here. You have the file location right here, and also a thumbnail, so it's very easy to see what images you're working with. If you click on an image, you can remove that image just by clicking on Remove. And right below here, we have parallel processing. What this means is that Affinity Photo will process these all at the same time. Smaller files get finished first, larger files get finished a little later. But that can save you a lot of time. If you want them all to be processed one at a time in a sequence, just uncheck that, and they'll then be processed one at a time. Only reason to do that, though, is if you have a slower computer with less memory available. Okay, the right-hand side is where you decide what you want to do with these files. The first option is where to put the files, save into original location. I normally recommend against that. So I'll always come down here to Save Into. This window is the location where these files came from. That's original location. And then the easy thing here is just to make a new folder. I'll call this one Batch Files. And I'll choose that folder, select the folder, and that's where it's going to be saving into. The reason you want to do that is so you don't accidentally overwrite any of your original images. It's always best to keep those separate just in case. Down below that, you can choose what format you want to save these into. We have quite a few: JPEG, PNG, TIFF, OpenEXR, WebP format, and JPEG XL format. On any one of these, there are additional options over here under this little button right there. Pixel format, use document format, or choose a specific over here. RGB, grayscale, CMYK. If your format has a matte color, you can adjust that color right down here. You can choose the resampling style. Normally, I'll leave this at the default. If you need to, you can choose an ICC profile. In most cases, if you leave this alone, it will just use the existing profile over here, and normally that's just fine. If there is a bleed setup, you can include the bleed. And a bleed is a little bit of picture that goes beyond the cut edge of your image, so that when the image is cut at a professional printer, there'll be a little bit of image just past that. So if you're using a bleed, you can include that. You can choose the quality setting on some of these. This is, of course, is a JPEG, so it has a quality slider control in here. You can choose to use progressive. Nobody does that any longer on the internet. It was a very fast way to load in larger files. I'm sure you've seen these on older web pages where they come in, several lines first, and then more lines on top of that, and then more lines on top of that. That's a progressive. We don't really use that any longer. All files have a certain amount of metadata in them. If you want to keep that, just go ahead and check on Embed Metadata. Most of these things, if you leave it at the defaults, you'll be just fine. And again, different formats will have different options. This is the PNG option down here. Notice we have a few more things down below. Come down here to the TIFF. Different options in here on the TIFF. For instance, there is a compression setting here for TIFF. So just check this to make sure that you have all these settings correct for your format that you're choosing. Again, in most cases, you can leave those alone. Right now, I'm saving all of my images to the PNG file format. Also notice that the very top option up here is Save as AF Photo, which is not a bad idea. That saves any layers or anything else that you've done in here in Affinity Photo. If you're just doing a conversion, you don't need that necessarily, but that's up to you. I'll leave that on. You can change the width and the height up here if you want to. So I could type in a specific width and height. Let's say I wanted to have this one at 1,000 pixels wide. By whatever the correct ratio is for high, it will automatically fill this in for me. If I uncheck this, I can then choose a different setting here, but that's going to either squeeze or stretch your image, which you normally don't want to have happen. So choose the dimension that you like, the width or the height, and put that number in if you want to change the dimensions. If you do this, of course, then all the images will match that one dimension. And this is going to be in pixels. I'll just leave this one alone. And so far, this is basically the way a lot of programs will work. So you can save out to a different file format. Nothing exciting about that. The real power in here of doing a batch job in Affinity Photo is that it can use macros down below here. For instance, I can convert these to sRGB, I can strip out the metadata. I can convert to black and white. We'll do this one. Choose apply. There we go. I can flip horizontal and flip vertical. And even more important in here is that you can create new macros inside of Affinity Photo. If you added something over here you don't want to have in here, just click on remove and it takes it off of that list. I'll just put that one back in again. There we go. So even though it looks pretty basic in here, because of the inclusion of macros, this becomes very powerful. This little drop down right here where it says default. We also have JR channels in here. There we go. So you can have macros stored in separate sets. So make sure you check that to see if you have additional sets in here and see what the options are for that. But the most powerful part is that you can record your own macros. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. We'll then take a look at macros after we've done this. Let's just choose OK. Now it's set for parallel processing. And we'll see over here, left-hand side, it's running right over there. There we go. As soon as it finishes, that window goes away. You can see how fast that was. I did about 10 pictures in here, and that went very, very quickly. I'll bring up that output folder. Let's see what those look like. Here we go. Notice that we saved the AF photo file format and also a PNG format for each one of those images. Let's now change our view here. I'll set this for extra large icons. And there we go. The AF photos left-hand side, that's what that icon is about. They've been converted to black and white, and we saved them into 2 different file formats. And it did a real nice job, as you can see, as Affinity Photo normally does. Okay, so that worked out just fine. Let's now take a look at those macros. Very powerful. Go up here to Window, come down to Macro. This brings up the macro panel left-hand side. Let me just get this docked up here. Here we go. 3 buttons in here: start recording, stop recording, and play recording. A few more options over here: reset, add to library, export, and import. And you can close the group or close down just that macro. Now to run a macro, all you have to do is just to hit the play button and then do something on your image. Let's go over here and let's add in an adjustment. I'll do a gradient map. Kind of a strange look in here on that. And let's change our blend mode. We'll find a nice looking blend mode. There we go, kind of a posterized effect on that one. So if I wanted to, I could apply this effect to a whole bunch of images at the same time. Let's just stop that recording. There we go. You can see how this had 3 steps in it: add gradient map adjustments, set adjustment parameters, and set blend mode. And let's go over here and add to library. And we'll give this one a name. And we can choose a category. Default or JR channels, I'll leave it in the default. Choose OK. There we go. Here are the macros. And we've added that in down here. Gradient map 3 steps. So if I wanted to recreate this series of steps on several photographs, all I have to do now is go up to File, come down to Batch Job. Let's choose Add. I'll just take some of these across the top like that. Choose Open. There we go. Let's save those out as PNG and as Affinity Photo. And let's save into our Batch Files folder. There we go. That's all set. Let's now come down here and look at our list. And here's our new macro that we made. Gradient map, choose Apply. There it is. Then we'll click OK. It's going to then apply this look to these 4 images and choose OK. All right, let's see how that worked out. And here we go. Here are those new images right there, those new 4, and our previous images right down below that in our same output folder. So there you go. That's how you can use the power of batch processing to do pretty much anything you want because of the ability to use those macros inside of batch processing here inside of Affinity Photo. And don't forget, I do have a complete course on how to use Affinity Photo, and the link for that is at the top of the description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time.